Okay, a war with Iran. It's a phrase we hear thrown around all the time, right? But what would one actually look like? Today, we're going to walk through a really detailed analysis that lays out this chilling scenario, a step-by-step breakdown of how a conflict could kick off, escalate, and just maybe spiral into the unthinkable.
And wow, the analysis we're digging into today, it paints a really stark picture. It's like a domino effect, leading to this catastrophic escalation. And it all starts, not on the battlefield, but right at the negotiating table, with the complete and utter collapse of diplomacy. So why would diplomacy just fall apart so completely? Well, according to this analysis, the breakdown was almost designed to happen. It points a finger directly at who was sitting at that table and the impossible terms they allegedly brought with them. And right here you can see how the source paints this incredibly black and white picture. On the US side, it doesn't describe them as neutral diplomats. Nope, it calls key figures dedicated Zionist movement ideologues, whose goal allegedly wasn't to get a deal, but to soften Iran up for an Israeli attack. Now, from Iran's perspective, as argued in this analysis, how do you even begin to negotiate in good faith against that? It basically led them to believe that the US was only there to force them to cross their own red lines. And this quote, man, it really gets to the heart of what the source calls the non-starters on the table. The demands allegedly weren't just about nuclear stuff. They supposedly included Iran giving up its entire navy and its legal missile program, the very tools it has to deter an attack in the first place. The analysis is pretty blunt. These weren't negotiating points, they were impossible demands designed to make the whole thing fail.
But the real nail in the coffin, according to this analysis, was this huge technical blunder. The US side reportedly claimed Iran could whip up several nuclear bombs in a week, using 60% enriched uranium. The thing is, as the source points out, that's just scientifically impossible. For Iran, that wasn't just a simple mistake. It was proof they were dealing with, and I'm quoting here, complete morons. At that point, really, what's left to talk about?
So with diplomacy totally off the table, the analysis shifts to the battlefield, and the picture it paints is startling. A conflict where the supposed overwhelming military power of the US and Israel isn't actually leading to a quick win. In fact, it's kind of the opposite.
Just look at this number to get a feel for what this war looks like on the ground. The Iranian Red Cross is claiming over 17,000 residential buildings have been hit. The point the source is making here is that this isn't some clean, surgical strike campaign against military targets. It's a war being waged on civilian areas, and it's not breaking Iran's will to fight.
And get this, Iran isn't just sitting back and taking it. The analysis argues they are hitting back, and in ways that really hurt. We're talking about striking major economic targets like the fuel depot at Dubai's airport and using drones to force the evacuation of the US embassy in Baghdad. The point is, Iran is meeting the US and Israel right up the escalation ladder, and it's refusing to back down.
So what makes this whole situation even more dangerous for the US, according to the source? Well, they're basically going it alone. European allies are reportedly sitting this one out, feeling alienated by an administration that had previously hit them with things like tariffs and threats. And that's not just a diplomatic headache. It means no practical support, like European minesweepers, in a very dangerous part of the world.
Okay, so this brings up a huge question that the source digs into. If the war is going badly, and your allies have bailed on you, why on earth would a leader keep pushing forward? The analysis offers a pretty shocking explanation, and it's all about the information getting to the very top.
The analysis claims that the pro-war faction is feeding President Trump a very modern kind of deception. All the evidence of failure, the pictures of destroyed US bases, videos of successful Iranian missile strikes, he's reportedly being told it's all fake. It's all just sophisticated AI-generated propaganda. He's being told that in reality, he's winning. Big time. So this complete break from reality allegedly sends the administration into what the source calls panic mode. You've got Trump supposedly dismissing a real photo of a massive anti-US rally as an AI image. Meanwhile, his officials are lashing out, banning photographers from the Pentagon and literally screaming at the press, blaming them for the bad news instead of actually dealing with the failing war.
So you've got this perfect storm, right? A failing war on the ground and a leadership that's being told it's all fake. According to the analysis, this is where things get truly terrifying and could lead to the nuclear option.
And at the heart of this argument is a really cold, hard military calculation. The source suggests that Israel, despite all its military power, simply cannot win a long, drawn-out war of attrition against a fully mobilized Iran and its network of allies. And it's this perceived vulnerability that could trigger the most desperate move of all.
The source really lays out this chilling chain of events, step by step,
First, the conventional war becomes unwinnable for Israel. Second, that leads to desperation. Third, that desperation could lead them to use a tactical nuclear weapon. And that, the analysis argues, brings everything full circle. It's precisely this potential threat that makes it, in their words, completely rational and legitimate for Iran to want its own nuclear program as the ultimate deterrent.
So there you have it, one possible, and let's be honest, deeply troubling chain of events. A domino effect that goes from a broken negotiating table all the way to the brink of nuclear war. It's a really sobering analysis, and it leaves us with this critical question. What or who has the power to break this chain and pull everyone back from such a dangerous path?